Now that we're all settled in, come to a comfortable seated position and start to make circles with your neck a few times as you invite the breath in, bringing conscious awareness to the inhales and exhales. And bring your hands now to your knees and start to make circles as you match your movements to your breath. Leading with the heart and eventually changing directions. As you start making your way back to center, go ahead and come into a straight spine. Release your arms, reach them overhead. We're going to take a side stretch to the right. You can either look forward or down. Let's inhale, come back to center. Exhale, side bend stretch to the left. Inhale, center. And twist over the right shoulder, using your arms for leverage. Tall spine. Breathe in. Gently unwind as you come back to center and twist to the left. Using your arms to press in, getting a deeper twist. Unwinding with the head first. Bringing your hands to prayer in front of your heart. Bow the head. Set an intention for your practice. And once you hold that space with your intention, go ahead and release, coming into an all-fours position, making sure that you find an alignment with your shoulders over your wrists, knees over the hips, and just bring any movement into this tabletop position. Maybe taking a C curve, bringing your shoulder and your hip closer together on one side and then the other. Maybe you take traditional cat-cow. Maybe you find that rib rotations feel really nice today. Any organic, natural, feel-good movements. You can shift forward and back, making circles even. Taking inventory of what you've got today. What are we working with today? Maybe you take your hands and you point your fingertips back towards your knees, stretching through the forearms and the fingers. Wrists, leaning gently back, your hips towards your heels if you need a little bit more sensation. As you're ready, unwind from here, shift back into an all-fours position. Go ahead and inhale, the right leg lifts up behind you, cross it over, look over the left shoulder, maybe you shift back slightly. Inhale, re-extend, bend the knee, aim it towards the back of your head, and then spin the heel flat behind you for modified side plank pose. You may explore by bringing the top arm overhead or lifting the back leg. Maybe you catch the foot or ankle, bringing it in towards you, or maybe kicking into the hand and creating a bow shape. As you inhale, the next time, gently release, Reach up and then come back down, all fours position. The left leg lifts, big breath in. Cross it over the body, look over the right shoulder, and breathe. Inhale, re-extend, bend the knee. Imagine your toes could touch the back of your head. As you re-extend, spin the back heel flat behind you. Press into the right hand for side plank pose, modified. Exploring the same options on this side. Maybe the top arm comes overhead. Maybe you work on your balance by just lifting the back foot up a little bit. Or maybe you keep going, catching your foot and either kicking into the hand or again, bringing it in towards the glute. Making sure you're still breathing, the core is activated, bottom hand presses down. And then with grace, just gently letting go in the same way you went in, back to all fours position. Bring the knees as wide apart as the edges of your mat. Press back into child's pose. And then we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Bringing movement to this first dog of the practice. Maybe you sway your hips from side to side or alternate the knees bent. Eventually coming back down onto the knees. Open the arms nice and wide. Breath in as you give yourself a big bear hug. Curl down. Inhale, open the arms, lift the heart. Exhale, bear hug, curl in. Inhale, release. You can either stay on the tops of your feet or curl the toes, all 10 toes underneath. Open the arms for eagle arms. Lift the elbows. Remember, you can continue with the bear hugs if eagle arms is not accessible. Switching sides, open up, taking eagle on the opposite side. Release as you're ready, bringing the arms nice and wide. Interlace your fingers behind you, or you can also grab opposite elbows just to get a nice lift into the heart, opening in the chest. Maybe you open the throat and eventually come into downward facing dog. Finding a sweet spot here, maybe adjusting your alignment, lifting your heels, dropping them down. On your next inhale breath, lift the right leg up, bend the knee and open the hip. You can make circles with the knee and the hip joint, maybe a couple in one direction and then a couple in the other direction. Re-extend and release, and then lift the left leg up. Again, bend the knee, open the hip any amount. And with equal pressure on both hands, a couple circles in one direction and then the other. Releasing back to downward facing dog. Walking the feet up to the hands, meeting in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Let the head dangle, maybe catching opposite arms. Ragdoll position. If you choose to add on, you can interlace your fingers at your lower back, maybe straighten the arms. Letting them drape overhead. And wherever you are, you may sway your head from side to side, maybe shaking the head yes or no. Maybe you sway the arms. Feel your balance into your heels as you release the arms and coil up one vertebrae at a time. Finding yourself in mountain pose, you can circle the shoulders around and down the back. Circle the arms now overhead. Big breath in. Take a gentle side stretch to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, side stretch left. And hands together in front of the heart. Maybe you close the eyes, feeling the feet rooted into the earth. Your next inhale, you're going to release the arms, circle them overhead. Maybe a slight back bend before folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift, invite the breath in, and then as you exhale, let's step back into plank pose. Lower the body down. Inhale, open the chest any amount. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walk the feet up between the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Let's roll up one vertebrae at a time. Circle the arms as your spine comes straight. Maybe another little back bend. Hands together in front of the heart. Let's step the right foot back, crescent lunge, bringing the arms overhead. Shifting into warrior two, spin the back heel flat and then back to your crescent lunge. We're gonna flow here a couple times. Warrior two, crescent lunge, pulsing, exploring the body, exploring each pose with the breath. Right hand's gonna come down inside the left foot, spinal twist. Release both hands down, square the front foot with both hands, downward facing dog. Shifting forward plank, exhale, lower down. Take your vinyasa with an upward facing and then a downward facing dog. Walking the feet again between the hands. Taking your halfway lift when you get there, exhale, fold. Roll it up, follow through with the arms, maybe another little back bend. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Left leg comes back this time, crescent lunge. So pulsing between warrior two and crescent lunge, finding your balance, popping the back heel up and then spinning it flat as you come into warrior two, crescent lunge at your own pace. So you don't have to keep up with the pace that I offer. The left hand's gonna come inside of the right foot, spinal twist. Frame your front foot with both hands. Let's step back, down dog. Take your vinyasa if you choose, chaturanga, upward facing and downward facing dog. On the next inhale, the right foot's gonna come up, bend the knee, open the hip. Maybe you make another couple circles. Just flowing breath and movement. Down dog, the left leg comes up. Again, bringing any movement that you like into this pose. And once you come back to your down dog, walk the feet up to the hands. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And roll it up. Hands overhead and then together in front of the heart. Take a big step open to the long edge of your mat. Release the arms wide. Turn the toes in and then both toes to the right. Find yourself in triangle pose. Let's flow with some circles of the arm. Imagine you were playing a giant guitar. Rotating through the shoulder joint. Maybe you use the gaze to follow the thumb around. Opening up to your capacity. And then we'll bend the front knee, reverse the warrior. Let's release back to warrior two. Straighten the front leg. This time both feet turn to the left and find your way in triangle pose on the opposite side. Again, circling at the shoulder joint. Maybe the neck is free and it allows for you to keep an eye on your thumb as your arm comes around. Eventually, maybe you drape it across your back. Bending the front knee, reversing your warrior on this side. And then keeping that deep bend in the front knee, shifting into warrior two. Straighten both legs. This time, turn your toes out, your hands onto your hips. Bend the knees and bring your arms into goalpost arms, like for goddess pose. Straighten legs, straighten arms. Exhale, sink down. Inhale, open the arms nice and wide. We're gonna do either a bear hug or eagle arms and pour the heart forward, tuck the chin, like we did in the beginning of class. Take 3 breaths, either oscillating here or just staying in one position, either down or up. Release, straight arms, straight legs, hands together in front of the heart. And take the opposite cross. So bear hug either on the opposite side or eagle arms. Again, either flowing or holding stationary, your choice. Releasing the arms, straight arms, straight legs, hands together in front of the heart. Bringing the hands to the hips. And we're gonna take your prayer squat, so heels in, toes out. You can either stay here and breathe. If you want to come into crow pose, bring the hands down, shoulder width apart. Bring your feet behind your wrists. Come onto your tippy toes. And then with your hands firmly planted in the ground, bring your knees behind your triceps. Maybe you lift one foot or both. Always looking forward, not looking down. Releasing back to your hands in front of the heart. And we're all gonna reach out and up. Press down to lift up. Maybe you back bend, hands in front of the heart. And find your way to the front edge of your mat. As you lift your heart, breathe in. Open the throat. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Circle the arms overhead, big breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, crown of the head forward. Exhale, fold, step the right foot back and prepare for warrior two. Spin the back heel flat, lower the hips. Breathe. Come into warrior one. With the back heel lifted, reach the arms overhead. On your next exhale, interlace the fingers behind you, look up, and pour the heart forward into humble warrior. Relaxing the neck, the head is loose. Deep bend in the front knee. Release back to your warrior one. Exhale, reach the hands forward, step back, downward facing dog. Jump, step, or walk to the front edge of your mat. Halfway lift with a long spine. Exhale, carry that length with you as you come up with a straight spine, hands together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach for your lower back, arch your spine, look up, back bend. Circle the arms overhead, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, the left foot comes back this time. And find yourself in warrior two. On your next inhale breath, pop up the back heel, warrior one. Sink the hips nice and low. Interlace your fingers at your lower back. Open the heart space, humble warrior. The legs are strong and anchored. The upper body is very relaxed. Find your edge. Soften into the pose. On a breath in, release. Warrior One, crescent lunge. Exhale, reach the hands either side of the front foot and step back into downward facing dog. Either staying in downward dog or finding yourself in child's pose. Let the hips soften towards the heels. Maybe you bring your palms together and bring your thumbs to the nape of your neck. Notice an opening in the triceps. When you're ready, coming into downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg is going to come up. Maybe you bend the knee and open the hip. Equal pressure into both hands as you spiral the front body open. And then send the foot outside of your right hand. Lift the chest, lift the gaze, maybe dropping the back knee. Taking any variation of lizard lunge. Maybe you drop down onto the forearms. Breathing into any areas that need opening, that need release. Maybe you follow through with a twist, anchoring the left hand down, maybe reaching back for the back foot. The gaze can stay down or maybe it goes up. When you're ready, you can unwind from here, finding yourself in half monkey pose by shifting the hips back, bringing one hand on either side of the front foot, and then just letting the upper body drape over the strong but relaxed front leg. If you choose to add on, you can walk the hands over to the outside edge of the front foot. Maybe you look behind you. Gentle twist. Deep stretch of the IT band. Breath in. Breath out as you unwind, finding yourself back in your low lunge. Curl the back toes, lift the back knee, and from your low lunge, step back into downward facing dog. If you want, you can take a vinyasa, take a child's pose. Whatever your body is called to do in this time before we do that same sequence on the other side. A reminder to match the movements to breath. Maybe passing through child's pose just for a breath or two. Eventually meeting in downward facing dog. I'm going to go ahead and shift to show you the front angle of this sequence. When you're ready, you can this time inhale the left leg up. Bend the knee, open the hip. Notice a deep opening in the front side body. And then as you're ready, look forward, shift forward, and plant the foot outside of your hand. Lizard lunge. Settle in. Lift the heart and chest, send the back heel towards the back of your mat. And if you'd like to come onto your forearms, walk the hands one handprint forward and drop down to your forearms. Allow the crown of the head to come forward, the tailbone reaches back. And if you choose to add on, maybe coming down onto the right forearm, finding the foot behind you. You can spill open to the outer edge of the left foot. Allow the exhale to gently unwind you from this pose. Press up onto the hands and then shift back into your half monkey pose. You can bring your hands on either side of the front foot, relaxing the upper body, just letting the back round and sending the hips back. You can stay here and breathe. Those of you that want to add on, you can start to twist over to the left, bringing both hands outside of the left leg, maybe gazing behind you. Keeping length in the spine. And on an exhale, unwinding, finding yourself back in your low lunge. Lift the back leg. And downward facing dog. Again, bringing any movements that you feel are organic and natural. Maybe you take a full vinyasa. Maybe you just pause in child's pose or down dog. Let's take half scorpion pose. Lifting the right leg up. You're going to come down onto the left forearm. Shift forward for pigeon pose, anchoring the right knee behind the right wrist, settling the hips back. Come onto your fingertips. Find that sweet spot where you can be comfortable. And bring your fingertips outside of your feet for a couple of little push-ups. So as you bend your elbows laterally, dip your heart down. Inhale, find length. Let's do one more pigeon push-up. And this time, as you release with a straight spine, maybe coming onto your elbows. You may want to stack your fists or your palms. Soften the head down. And surrender to this pose, as if there was nothing to fix, as if there was nothing to change. Some of you will feel really comfortable here. If you want to add on, I'll encourage you to thread the needle with your arms. So press up onto your hands, and you can take your left arm threaded underneath the right. Lean onto the left shoulder, maybe interlacing the fingers and creating a little traction. If you choose to add on, you can drape your top arm across your lower back. Maybe you find your toes behind you. Maybe you bring your bottom arm up like a little self-adjustment or a little kickstand. Knowing that you can always change your mind if you went there and it wasn't the best idea. If you're ready to unwind, come seated to the long edge of your mat. Left leg is extended, the right knee is bent. And we'll take a side stretch to the left. Breathing into the space created in the right side body. Trying to relax your knees down towards the earth. On an inhale, come back up. Anchor the right arm behind you. Peel up your pelvis for a back bend. Exhale, second set, side stretch. On your inhale, we'll come back to center, squaring the front edge of your mat, stepping back, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, we'll take half scorpion on the left. Lifting the left leg up, bend the knee, open the hip, and the right forearm comes down towards the earth. As you press back into both hands, arms go straight. We'll send the left foot, knee behind the wrist for pigeon pose. Knowing you can always take pigeon on your back as a modification. And once you settle in, we'll take a couple pigeon push-ups, spidering up the fingers, finding that sweet spot, a solid foundation. Lift the chest and heart. Exhale, bend at the elbows, dip down. Match your movement to the breath. Create a little space, front side body. Bring that space with you as you fold. Taking one more. Exhaling, staying low. Maybe coming onto your forearms. Allowing the upper body to be completely relaxed. If your physical body allows for it, taking the same variation on this side that you did on the other. Maybe you stack your fists or stack your palms. Resting your head down, relaxing even more. And if there's anywhere that you are able to let go more, give yourself that opportunity. If you feel very free and very open here, and you need more sensation, maybe threading the needle is appropriate, pressing onto the hands, bringing this time the right arm underneath the left, resting your shoulder onto the earth. Top arm interlaces, and use a little pressure for leverage. Maybe you choose to add on further, bringing the top arm across the lower back. You may find your toes back there, maybe binding. And the bottom arm can serve as a kickstand, just further supporting the front side body. Deep, rhythmic breaths. Eventually unwinding the same way that you went in. Pressing onto both hands, sitting onto the long edge of your mat. Right leg extended, left knee is bent. Take your side stretch. I'll adjust for a different demonstration. Try to keep the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, left hand's gonna come behind you. Peel the pelvis up, arch the spine. Exhale, second set. Gentle side stretch. Imagine your shoulders are stacked over one another. And as you come up this time, frame the front edge of your mat. We'll step back in downward facing dog. Just maybe pumping the knees, alternating one heel down at a time. Before coming down onto your knees. Hero's pose. So you can keep the toes tucked underneath. Let's bring the hands together in front of the heart. Pause for a breath in and a breath out. Preparing for camel pose. Come to a high kneeling position. Take 2 fists and measure between your knees. And then with your lower back and your sacrum supported, you're going to send the pelvis forward. And your heart up. Squeezing the elbows together. Letting the throat soften. Maybe the gaze lifts. Coming back to center, take a second set. It's common to feel discomfort in this pose. So when you feel anything that's just not comfortable, breathe into it more. If you want, take a third set or take half camel pose by bringing one arm on the lower back and the other one overhead, one at a time. And then if you choose, you can bring both hands down. Maybe you can catch the ankles behind you. Full camel. Coming up with equal pressure, both hands in front of the heart, and unwind with a couple of cat-cows. Meeting in down dog whenever you're ready. And eventually making your way, either hopping, stepping, or skipping to the front edge of your mat. Once you get there, take a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle the arms overhead as you come into chair pose. Allow your hips to settle back. Release the arms down at your sides and then in front of you. Inhale, arms overhead, down at your sides and in front of you. One more, just like that. Arms overhead, down laterally. And then this time we'll interlace the fingers at the lower back. Straighten the legs, arch your spine, back bend. Keep your fists together, sit back into your chair pose and bring your fist package to the right side of your waist. Squeeze the elbows together behind you. Maybe you come into a little bit of a deeper squat before you release into your back bend and change sides. Bring your fists to the left side of your waist. Settle down into your hips. Elbows squeeze behind you. Inhale, release, back bend. Exhale, forward fold. You can keep the arms interlaced, let them flow overhead, or maybe you catch your elbows, ragdoll. Releasing the hands down, yogi toe lock on your two big toes, halfway lift. And then as you fold, we're gonna bring the left hand to the left hip and see if you could come up with the right foot in your hand, either with the knee bent or the leg straight. Extended hand to big toe pose. Wherever you are, bring the leg laterally. You could feel free to take any balance variation here. If you're with me, bring the foot back to center and shift into dancer's pose. So gently release. Bring the foot behind you. Catch the foot from the inside. The left hand's going to come overhead. And in equal directions, kick and reach. Try to keep the gaze on one spot. Those of you that feel really free and open, maybe the left fingertips come down for a bound half moon. And releasing this pose to a standing split. Just options. And wherever you are, let's come back through center. Lifting the right knee up and finding mountain pose. Let's bring the hands to the hips, back bend, exhale, forward fold. Yogi toe lock, the two big toes, take a halfway lift, lengthen the spine, exhale, bend at the elbows and fold forward. As you inhale, take one more halfway lift, right hand on the right hip. Pick up what you can. Either the left knee is bent or the left leg is extended. Allow the next inhale breath to bring your leg lateral. And coming back to center as you're ready. And flowing into dancer's pose if you're with me, but feel free to take any standing pose balance that you feel that's appropriate for you. For dancers, kick and reach. Lift, kick and reach. If you want to keep going, the fingertips come down. Find your bound half moon pose. Without slingshotting the foot, make your way to standing split, releasing both hands down. And wherever you are coming through, back to your forward fold, and then to standing. Find yourself in mountain pose. Release both hands to your sides, palms face forward, anchored through the feet, like if you had roots. If you're not at the front of the mat, go ahead and make your way up there. Hands together in front of the heart. And we're gonna shift down into chair pose and deeper into chair pose until you come all the way down to a squat and eventually into boat pose. However you get there, settle in, reach the toes up, the fingertips forward, the spine is straight. Take your low boat by hovering and then shifting in and out of boat pose a couple times. Just activating the core. Maybe you take the knees bent, catch your two big toes. Maybe you catch the backs of the knees. If you've got your toes bound, open up the legs for a different variation. And if you feel really balanced, look up. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. Come into a straight spine and forward fold, relaxing the upper body. On your inhale, let's come back up to a straight spine. Exhale, second set. Once you feel like you've hit your edge, come back up into a seated pose. And for spinal twist, take the left foot and cross it over the right. Looking over the right shoulder. Bottom leg could be extended or bent. Just gently spiraling open. We'll bring the soles of the feet back together, but bring the heels a little further away from the body this time as you forward fold. Maybe you take a turtle variation by bringing the arms underneath the legs. Maybe the palms face down on the mat either side of you. Rounding the back, letting the head dangle. Breathing into the back of the heart space. And then as you unwind, this time the left foot crosses over the right. With a nice long spine, we're twisting left. Breathe into the resistance created by the twist. Maybe you use your arm as leverage to go a little bit deeper. Unwinding when you're ready. And this time we'll come into a wide leg straddle. Make sure you're seated onto your sits bones. Toes towards the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. So the legs are strong and activated, and the upper body is completely relaxed. If you're ready, you can press up, use your arms to allow you to come out of the pose, and make your way onto your back with control, nice and easy. Once you get there, shifting into sleeping tiger or any variation of your choice for an inversion. You can put a block or a blanket underneath your hips. You can go to the wall and bring your legs up the wall. Whatever you do, make sure you are breathing very deep, rhythmic breaths. Make sure you're not holding tension anywhere that's just not necessary. And although you're using muscular energy to hold your body in this position, find softness within the shape. Some of you may want to explore with plow pose by bringing your hands underneath your hips as you launch them up, launch the feet overhead. If you're able, walk the shoulders a little closer together. Maybe you interlace your fingers behind you onto the earth. Creating space for the throat. Lift the nose, lift the chin a little bit. Maybe you lift the legs into shoulder stand. If you're in an inversion and you feel uncomfortable, maybe you come out just for a moment, readjust, and then find yourself back into the inversion. If you chose shoulder stand, coming back into plow pose. From plow pose, maybe you bend the knees, bring them on either side of your ears. Those of you in sleeping tiger, you can bring the knees in towards your chest. Preparing for fish pose, let's all lower the legs. Prop yourself up onto your elbows and begin to lift the heart. Maybe if your neck allows for it, you can bring the head behind you, top of the head onto the earth. Adding on, you may lift your arms, lift your legs. And wherever you are, press into your hands and lift the head first as you look down towards your toes. And then come onto your back, hug the knees into the chest. Maybe you take a happy baby pose. Maybe you roll from side to side, massaging the sacrum. You can then bring the soles of your feet together, rest them onto the mat. Bring either both hands to the belly or the left hand to the heart, the right hand to your abdomen. And begin to let your yoga practice settle in. Notice how your breath might feel different than when you started your practice. Notice any sensations in the body of warmth or tingling or little subtle vibrations. You may notice your heartbeat, all of the signs of your prana, of this life force that runs through you. And continue to breathe full, conscious, rhythmic breaths. Taking a few more at your own pace. You can stay here, or you may explore how it feels to catch opposite elbows, frame the head by bringing the elbows overhead. Taking 2 more of the deepest breaths you've got. Unwinding gently, bringing both knees into the chest. Hug them in nice and tight, and then drop the knees to the right, upper body to the left. You may switch, bringing the knees to the left, upper body to the right. Taking this opportunity to do anything else in your practice you feel like you may need, and eventually coming into Shavasana. Allow your palms to face up, away from your body. Maybe you roll your head a little side to side. eventually finding complete stillness. Let's begin to bring a little awareness back into the body. Maybe you bring one hand to the heart, one hand to the lower belly again. Bring awareness into the breath by inviting in a deeper breath. And eventually just coming into any natural and organic movements. Maybe a long stretch before you come onto your right side into fetal pose. Just taking this opportunity to seal your practice. Pressing into a simple seat, Sukhasana, with your hands together in front of the heart. This concludes your yoga practice for today. Thank you for joining me. And I hope that you are happy. My wish for you is that you are safe and protected, healthy and well, that you are loving and kind, and that you may always be at peace. And may all sentient beings everywhere be happy and free.